See, the next topic that we have to revise is complex numbers. Some part of it is already covered, just like PNC. So what we have covered till now in complex numbers, first we introduced iota. What is iota? Iota is under root of -1, right? Then we learned some values. These were the values that we learned, okay? And I told you how to find. There were questions like find iota to the power 78, iota to the power whatever 17, any integer. I told you that we divide this power by 4, right? And I told you the reason also. So this was the topic that we covered in iota. And these were the results that you need to remember, right? Then, can anyone tell me what else we studied in this chapter apart from this iota and properties? What else you studied?
So modulus,
Yeah,
conjugate.
modulus, conjugate, principal argument, polar form of complex number, right? Polar form, but before that we studied the general form. So general form of complex number, right? General form of complex number. General form of complex number means any complex number in mathematics can be represented by this form x plus iota y. Sometimes we write a plus iota b. Where what is x? If you remember, x is, what is the meaning of this thing? Rez means real part of z. I told you that in this notation both x and y are real numbers. Okay. Both x and y themselves are real numbers. Okay. X is called real part of z, y is called imaginary part of z. Why y is called imaginary part of z? Though itself is a complex real number, because it is multiplied with iota. It is the coefficient of iota. Okay. That is why we say that it is a imaginary part. The value itself is real. For example, like 2 plus 3 iota. This is a complex number. 2 is the real part, 3 is the imaginary part. Okay, if I write 5 iota, then it can be written as 0 plus 5 iota. Real part is 0, imaginary part is 5. All the real numbers, they are actually complex numbers. All the real numbers are complex numbers. Why it is so? Because they can be written in the general form like this, 7 plus iota 0. So real part is 7, imaginary part is 0. Okay, so like this. So this was general form of complex number. I told you the meaning of complex number as well. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of complex number? Anyone remembers meaning of complex number? Meaning means geometrical meaning. If you remember, anyone can speak.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So a number which is of the form x plus iy, where x is real part of it and y is the imaginary part of it.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Now my question is, it is some other question. Okay, I got this. Now I want to ask, what is the geometrical meaning of this x plus iota y? Geometrical meaning. The term is geometrical meaning. Do you remember anything about this? Any one of you? Geometrical meaning? Do you remember anything called Argand plane? Anything called Argand plane? And then what is complex number there? See, I told you there is this Argand plane which looks similar to our Cartesian plane only, just the names are changed. In place of x-axis, they use real axis term. In place of y-axis, they use imaginary axis, hence the name Argand plane. Okay. And it works in the similar way just like the Cartesian plane, normal Cartesian plane. So basically this represents a point in Argand plane, represents a point x comma y in the Argand plane, exactly in the same way as we do in coordinate geometry, okay, in the Argand plane. So suppose if I say that there is a point 2 comma 3, like the quadrant system is same, okay, sign convention, everything is same, exactly same, just the change in the names, okay, it's like that, okay. So 2 comma 3 will be here, no, x2 y3, it will be somewhere here, wait a minute. So this point, no, this point 2 comma 3, okay. When I write a point like this, we always write in which form, x comma y, abscissa are then ordinate, right? Here we write real part and then imaginary part first, okay. So if someone asks what is this 2 comma 3, then we will say that it is a point 2 plus iota 3 in the Argand plane, okay. This is the meaning. If I want to plot this complex number iota, okay, which was the first complex number, most basic complex number iota. So that means I want to plot a point, 0 comma 1 in the Argand plane, and it will be somewhere here, right? This point is your iota. So like this. So if someone asks what is the geometrical meaning, you will say that the complex number x plus iota y represents a point x comma y in the Argand plane, okay. This is the meaning of complex number. Then if you remember, we studied about equality of complex numbers like a plus iota b is equal to c plus iota d. When the two complex numbers can be equal, the two complex numbers can be equal only when their real part and imaginary parts are same, okay. Only when their real and imaginary parts are same. Why it is so? How can we explain this geometrically? Two complex numbers same means both are present on the same point. If I say it is a comma b and at the same time I want to say that it is c comma d, then what is the meaning? It means that a will be equal to c and b will be equal to d, because both of them are representing same points, because it is written equal to here, right? So their real parts and imaginary parts must be equal, only then it can happen. So this was about complex number, its meaning and equality of complex numbers, right? Then if you remember, we studied the algebra. Modulus conjugate, they came later on, okay. We studied the algebra. By algebra of complex numbers, we mean addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, right? So I told you how to add, subtract, multiply and divide the complex numbers. So suppose I have this complex number, let's say a1 plus iota b1, and there is another complex number a2 plus iota b2. Suppose I want to add these two, okay. If I have to add these two complex numbers, then their sum will be what I told you. I told you that their sum will be a single complex number whose real part will be the sum of real parts of these two complex numbers, and their imaginary part, sorry, the imaginary part of the third complex number which you are getting, that will be obtained like this, okay. You add their you add the imaginary parts of the individual complex numbers and then you take iota common, okay. So it is a1 plus a2 plus iota b1 plus b2, right? Then if you want to subtract two complex numbers, same way you will subtract the corresponding real parts, that means a1 minus a2, and you will subtract the corresponding imaginary parts, so it will be b1 minus b2, right? Addition, subtraction. So for example, if you have like 2 plus 3 iota and you want to add 3 plus 4 iota to it, okay, suppose you want to add these two complex numbers, okay, then what you will do, you will simply use this result that you add the real parts and you add the imaginary parts, okay, and this will be the resultant complex number, okay, or the addition of these two complex numbers. Then Same in multiplication also, you can multiply 1 by 1. Okay, multiply 1 by 1. Suppose you have a1 plus iota b1 and you want to multiply it with a2 plus iota b2. So you start multiplying just like the normal multiplication. So a1 will get multiplied with a2, then a1 with iota b2 can be written as iota a1 b2, then iota b1 a2, and finally iota square b1 b2. Now we know that iota square is actually minus 1, right? Iota square is minus 1. So we will use that result and we will write the real part together, and from these two middle terms I will be taking iota common and it will become a1 b2 plus b1 a2. Okay, so this is multiplication. Okay, now the last one, if I want to divide this. Now let me take a numerical example rather than this, that will be easy for you to understand. Suppose I want to divide two complex numbers. Let's say I want to divide 3 plus 4 iota by 2 plus 3 iota. Suppose I want to divide this. Can anyone tell me what exactly we have to do? How to divide this? What I explained in this thing? How to divide 3 plus 4 iota by 2 plus 3 iota? What you will be doing?
So multiply by the denominator's conjugate.
Yeah, very good. See, there is nothing called division. You won't say, sir, we will divide 3 by 2 and 4 by 3. Okay. There is no division of such thing. Like you divide the real part and you divide the imaginary part. In fact, what you have to do, you have to rationalize here. And for that, you multiply this numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. Now I told you what is the conjugate. I even discussed this, and conjugate will be actually related to your conjugate only, right? Suppose this is complex number z. If you remember, I told you this z with a bar symbol on it is the conjugate of complex number. Remember, conjugate. And to write the conjugate of z, what we do, we simply replace the sign of the term with iota. So it is iota b, so I'll be writing minus iota b here. Okay, I'll be writing minus iota b here. So what you'll be doing, you will be multiplying this. Now what will happen as a result? What will happen? See, suppose this is 3 into 2. Now do the multiplication in the numerator just like the previous concept. 3 into 2 is 6, then minus 9 iota, 8 iota, minus 12 iota square. In the denominator, a plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. So this comes out to be 6 minus iota. Iota square is minus 1. This will be plus 12. In the denominator, it will be 4 plus 9. You know why? Because 9 iota square, and iota square itself is minus 1. Okay. So this will be, finally you will get 18 minus iota by 13. And now you can write it like this. See, you can split this. You can split this and write it in the form of the general form of complex number, right? A plus iota b. So if someone asks what is the real part, it is 18 by 13. Imaginary part minus 1 by 13. Okay. Always compare a complex number with its general form. So this is the division of these two complex numbers. Okay. This is the way. So after this addition, multiplication and everything, we discussed about conjugate only. Okay. What is conjugate? You say you change sign of the term containing iota. Okay. So that becomes conjugate of complex number. I told you like 2-3 properties there. Okay. I told you 2-3 properties there. Then I told you what is modulus. Some properties were given that time also, 2-3 properties. And then we studied about the polar form with the help of principal argument and argument, something like this. Okay. So what we are going to do before moving further into conjugate and everything, okay, I am going to introduce you some new concepts now. Okay. The first is square root of a complex number. Okay. First is square root of a complex number. You will be asked to find the square root of a complex number. Okay, so there is no theory as such. We'll start with the question, then I'll be giving you one question. On the basis of that, we try to understand this concept. Listen very carefully. So question may come like find square root of complex number 1 plus iota. This term 1 plus iota. You have to find its square root. Okay. Now pay attention to each and every step. See, this is a complex number. Let us say x plus iota y is its square root. Because see, it is a complex number. So square root will be a complex number, just like root 25. Root 25 used to be 5. Okay. So root of 1 plus iota, you cannot say it is some particular value directly. But obviously it will be a complex number. So you assume this square root in its most general form, that is x plus iota y. So now in order to find the square root, you need to find the values of x and y actually. With the help of this, you will be able to write the square root. So the next step is squaring both sides. Squaring both sides, okay. When you square both sides, it will become x plus iota y whole square, and this is 1 plus iota. Now you will expand this square. This is x square plus iota square y square plus 2xy iota and 1 plus iota on the right hand side. Now iota square is minus 1. Okay. This is 2xy iota equals 1 plus iota. Now can anyone tell me what to do after this step? Can you relate this to any concept that you have studied? What should I write after this step? Yes, anyone? The next step will be the comparison. No? What is the problem? This is the real part. Why? Because if you remember what I told you about x plus iota y, that x and y themselves are real numbers. Then why the name real part, imaginary part? Because y is associated with iota, it is multiplied with iota, that is why. However, since x and y are real, so this part will be real, and you will compare it with right side. In the right side, the real part is 1. Now similarly, the imaginary part, which is 2xy on the left hand side, and coefficient of iota on the right hand side is 1. Okay. I told you in the beginning itself, you have to find x and y. For that you need two equations, and they are right here. Okay. Now what you can do, either you can do the substitution, you can put value of y in place of x and put it in another equation and solve, or what else you can do, you can use this identity. Now what is this identity? This is a plus b whole square equals a minus b whole square plus 4ab. Okay, plus 4ab. How to write this? A plus b whole square equals a minus b whole square plus 4ab. So what is a here in this question? A is x square, and what is b? B is y square. Okay, so this is the identity. Now put the values that you have. So you have both the values on the right hand side. In place of x square minus y square, you will put 1. In place of 2xy also you will put 1. And this x square plus y square comes out to be, whole square comes out to be 2. Okay. Now when we take the root, we usually write plus minus. But here we are not going to do it. Usually whenever, let's say x square is 25, then we write x as plus minus 5. But here I am not writing minus root 2. Can anyone explain why? Why I am not using minus root 2 here? What is the reason? Yes, anyone?
Squares won't be negative.
Yeah, because we have x square and y square, and then addition is there. So how come there some be a negative number? No. Now this will also be used later on. I will tell you when this box. But before that, we have now these two equations, okay? One is this equation and the other one is this one, okay? Let us solve these two. How? Add and subtract, simple. 2x square is root 2 plus 1. X square is root 2 plus 1 by 2. X comes out to be again root, okay? Like this. Similarly, to find y square, instead of adding you would have done the subtraction, okay? If you subtract, it will be 2y square equals root 2 minus 1, and when you go on simplifying like this, y will come out to be plus minus root 2 minus 1 by 2. So we are almost there, because we have to find square root of 1 plus iota, which is x plus iota y. Now we can put x and y here, but listen carefully. Last thing, this 2xy is equal to 1, no? 2xy is equal to 1 means xy is equal to half, which means xy is positive, okay? And this means x and y are of same sign. Xy is positive, so that means x and y either they can be, both can be positive or both can be negative, are of same sign. You know what is the meaning of this? The meaning is that if I take plus from x, I will have to take plus from y as well, okay? And if I am taking minus from x, then I will be taking the negative value of y also. So how to do this? I will be using plus minus outside, okay? I will be using plus minus outside. It is root 2 plus 1 by 2. This is in place of x, then I put a plus sign, then iota, and then this value. This is our answer. If you have to read this answer, okay, then outside the bracket either there is plus or there is minus, okay? If I take plus there, then it will be root of this plus iota root of that. Both x and y are positive. If I take the negative sign outside the bracket, then both of them will be negative, because that is what is required in the question. Now suppose xy was negative. Last thing, I am telling you for some other part also. Suppose xy was minus half. Then you know what will happen in that case? Xy will be negative. If xy is negative, then x and y will be of opposite sign. Okay. So if x and y are of opposite sign, suppose in the same question, if x and y were of opposite sign, then still I will write root plus minus outside. But here I will just use negative sign this time. Okay. Now see, when you will read plus sign, no, it will be plus in x but minus in y. And if you take negative sign, so it will be minus in x and plus in y. Okay, so that means they will be of opposite sign. So the signs of x and y will be decided by this term, which you will get every time in this question. Because this is not just the question, this is the whole theory. Now whatever be the question, only the same steps are supposed to be followed. Okay, so what was the question? Let us have a quick recap, and then you will be solving next question. Okay. Whenever we have to find the square root, first thing is assume it x plus iota y. Okay. Like this. What are x and y? What are x and y? X and y are real numbers. We all know this. Okay. Then we will square both sides. Squaring you do it. Okay. Just simplify as much as you can. After that, you will use this result that a plus iota b is equal to c plus iota d. This means a is equal to c and b is equal to d, right? So I have used this. Then I told you to use this identity, but in place of a use x square, in place of b use y square. Now you will be putting these values here, okay? As a result, you will get x square plus y square whole square. When you will take the root, you will not write minus. I told you the reason. Sum of two squares is positive. So with this equation and this one, okay, the one in the box, you can get x and y. Simple, add once, subtract once. This is done by addition and this is done by subtraction, okay? So you will get x and y with plus minus signs. Now to make the combinations, I told you to take this thing. From here you will get the sign of x and y, okay? And what is the last thing I told you? That whether this x and y are of same sign or opposite sign, you write plus minus outside. If they are of same sign, then there will be plus here. If they are of opposite sign, it will have minus here, okay? So simple working, simple rule, okay? Let us solve one more question. I will give you time to solve it, okay? And let me see if you can get the answer. So it is All of you try this question, okay, and let me know if you can get the answer. Simple working, same working is to be followed in almost every question. So this is the last one. I'll be just taking these two questions. Find square root of complex number 3 plus 4 iota. Do it. Complex number 3 plus 4 iota. This is the question. Yes, anyone got the answer? We can do it in the same way, no? Under root of x plus iota y is 3 plus 4 iota. Then we square both sides. Sorry, this is the opposite. Let x plus iota y is under root 3 plus 4 iota. Okay. Then we square both sides. So this will be 3 plus 4 iota. This is x square minus y square. Y minus, because iota square is minus 1. So this is 2xy iota 3 plus 4 iota. Okay. Now we will compare. X square minus y square is 3 and 2xy is 4. Okay, same working every time. Now use this identity that a plus b whole square is a minus b whole square plus 4ab. So 4x square y square is actually 2xy whole square. That is why I write it like this. Okay, now you put these values here. This will be 3 square plus 4 square and it will come out to be 5. This time the calculation will be easy. Okay. Sorry. This is 25. Okay. So when you will take the root, what I told you, here you write only plus. Why? Because sum of two squares. Now solve these two equations in brackets, in these boxes. Okay, solve these two. So very easy to solve, because when you will add 2x square, add these two. Okay, this comes out to be 8. X square is 4x is plus minus 2, and if you subtract, then it will be 2y square equals 2. So y square comes out to be 1, or y is plus minus 1. Okay, so you have x and y both, right? Now I told you about this term, this step, no? 2xy is 4, xy is 2, xy is positive. Xy is 2 means that xy is greater than 0. This means x and y are of same sign. So once again a similar question, are of same sign. Okay. So therefore this under root of 3 plus 4 iota, which is x plus iota y. Okay. These are x and y, they are of same sign, so it will be plus minus common. In place of x you will write 2, in place of y you write 1, so this will be plus minus 2 plus iota. Okay, in place of x we are putting 2, in place of y we write 1, y plus in between because they are of same sign. Remember, if opposite sign then minus will come in between, and here we will write plus minus, and then x is 2 and y is 1. Okay, so similar question, again same, nothing is new in the question. Okay, every time it will be same. Yes. Yes, please. What is your? Sorry, your voice is not clear. Can you repeat?
So for x square plus y square,
Yes.
why won't we take plus or minus 5?
See, this is not possible, no? How can you write x square plus y square as minus 5? This is a square, which is a positive number, right? Or it can be, least it can be 0. Then we have y square. Same goes for this. It can be positive or 0. And in between there is plus sign. So, can the sum of two non-negative numbers be a negative number? No. Okay, that is why. Alright?
Okay.
Yes. So I hope this is clear. Okay. Same question every time. Same type of working will be there. You will see some question in question bank, at that time you can solve them again. Okay, there is this true or false type of question, and I just want to know that what is your opinion about this. The question is 6 plus 2 iota greater than 5 plus 5 plus iota? This is the question. I want to know your answer and what you are thinking, why you are saying so, what is the reason. True or false? Yes, anyone? Is 6 plus 2 iota greater than 5 plus iota? What do you think about it? See, the answer is false, because the inequality sign, which means greater than or less than have no meaning in complex numbers. Have no meaning in complex numbers. Or simply you can say that we cannot compare two complex numbers with greater than and less than sign. So what can be the reason given for this? Okay, what can be the reason given for this? For this, I will give the reason through Argand plane. Okay, this is real axis, this is imaginary axis. So before that, I want to tell you that if someone was thinking like this, that 6 is greater than 5 and 2 is greater than 1, that means the real part of left side is greater than the real part of right hand side. Similarly, the imaginary part is greater than the imaginary part of right hand side. So definitely 6 plus 2 iota will be greater. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, because you are comparing here like you used to compare in real numbers. That is why. So how can I explain this thing? Why it has no meaning? Why these symbols have no meaning in complex numbers? Because see, what is 6 comma 2? 6 comma 2 will be some point in the Argand plane, right? What is 6 plus 2 iota? A point in Argand plane. What? Which point? 6 comma 2. Written in the form x comma y. Real part first, then imaginary part, right? What is 5 plus iota? Again it is a point. Again it is a point. Say it is somewhere here 5.1. Okay, you do this labeling 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? 6, then 1, then 2. Okay, so you get these points. Now let us come back to the question. They are saying that 6 plus 2 iota is greater than 5 plus iota. So if we try to understand this thing geometrically, then they are trying to say that this point is greater than this point, right? They are trying to say that this point is greater than this point. I hope you are getting it. Will it make any sense? Point greater than another point? Certainly not. Okay, certainly not. But equality to sign holds. Equal sign has meaning, right? Equal sign has meaning. When I say a plus iota b equals c plus iota d, then it is meaningful. Why? Because then we can say that geometrically they represent the same point, so they will have same coordinates. That is why real parts and imaginary parts are equal. Okay, but this greater than and less than will have no meaning in complex number. It will be like saying a point is less than another point, or a point is greater than another point, which is totally meaningless, right? So always remember this thing. So in this previous chapter you studied about factorial, right? And then you have already studied about iota. So there is a combination of the there is a question on combination of these two, which is here. Try this and let me see if you can get the answer. The question says that iota to the power n factorial. Okay, iota to the power, and I'm telling you this I stands for iota. Okay, so iota to the power n factorial, and iota goes from n goes from 0 to 100. Sigma, its value you have to calculate, and I'm giving you the options. Okay, is it 95? Is it iota plus 95? Just tell me what you are getting. 2 iota plus 97, or D, none of these. Just solve this part. Try to solve it. You know everything about sigma, factorial, iota, right? Just solve it and tell me what you are getting. Yes, any answers? How can we expand this? N 0 to 100 iota to the n factorial. First you give the values and write sigma in expanded form. So iota to the power 0 factorial, 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 4 factorial, and after that write few more and then just leave it till 100 factorial. Okay. Now write some starting values of factorial, like 0 factorial is 1, this is also 1, this is 2, iota to the 3 factorial is 6. And now see, listen very carefully. From these terms, in the value of each of these terms will be 1 only. I will tell you why. Value of each of these term will be 1. Let me explain. Because see, iota factorial, 4 factorial, 4 factorial is 24. This can be written like this using exponent. Okay, and we know that iota to the power 4 is 1, that is why its value will be 1. So this 4 is going to decide the value, right? Because iota to the power 4 is 1, and 4 will occur in every term. Now in 5 factorial also there will be 4. 5 factorial is 120. This can be written like this. Okay, 4 to the power 30, a to the power m to the power n, I mean to 1. Now this is again 1. So are you getting it? Every time you will be having 1 as the answer. Now 6 factorial also, in 6 factorial it is 6 into 5 into 4, right? So this is 720, but this can be written as iota to the power 4 to the power 180. So every time you will get 1 now. So that is why I have written 1 every time. And what about remaining? You can add them manually. You can just find these values. This is iota. This is iota. Iota square is minus 1. Iota to the power 6, this will also be minus 1. Why? Iota to the power 6 can be written like this. Iota 4 is 1. Iota square is minus 1. Overall you get minus 1. So once again, this will be a negative value, right? This will be a negative value. And how many times 1 is there? How many times 1 is there? If you watch carefully, it is 97 times. 97 times. Why? Because if you see, there were total 101 terms. Because sigma is varying from 0 to 100, not from 1 to 100. So if we leave the first four terms, then the remaining 97 terms are there, and every term is giving the value equal to 1. So that means 97 will be coming. Finally, your answer will be 2 iota plus 95, right? Your answer will be, because minus 2 plus 97 will be 95. So because of that, D will be the option. Because in C it is 2 iota plus 97. That is a wrong option. Okay, 2 iota plus 95. So I hope this is clear. Okay, then another question on the application of iota only. Okay, if x is minus 2 minus root 3 iota, then find value of 2x to the power 4 plus 5x cube plus 7x square minus x plus 41. Okay, this is the question. X is equal to minus 2 minus root 3 iota. You will find lot of these type of questions. Okay, they will give you some value of x in terms of complex number, and they will ask you a value of very big expression. Big expression means in terms of number of terms as well as power. Okay, so just try this. Let me see what is your approach and can you get the answer. Yes, anyone having some other method here apart from value putting? See, in such type of questions, if you think that you will directly substitute this value here and then you will simplify, it may not be a good idea. Then what else we can do in such questions? We first simplify this expressions. By simplifying means, watch carefully all the steps. We are going to use some procedure where you will make this equation free of iota, and for that the basic steps are you bring 2 to the left hand side and you square both sides, right? You square both sides. Why squaring only? Because iota square is -1, that is why. So when you square it, you will get x square plus 4x plus 4. In the right hand side, it will be 3 iota square. Okay. So this is now x square plus 4x plus 4 equals -3. Iota square is -1. Bring all the terms on the left hand side, on one side only, like this. Okay. Now you have the value of this expression in x, which is a power 2 expression. You have this value as 0. Okay. Now the question is why we brought 2 here and then we did the squaring. Why not squaring here only? Because if you will do the squaring at the first step only, no, then again iota will repeat. Because then in that case you will be doing a plus b whole square on the right hand side. And with the term 2ab, iota will be coming again. And I want to make this equation free from iota. So first I brought 2 to the left hand side and then I did the squaring. After that I am getting some expression and its value is 0 here, right? Now, last thing that you need to do understand is, that is very obvious, we have to find value of this expression. Okay, consider this as the dividend. I am repeating, this expression is of higher degree, this is polynomial of degree 4, consider it as dividend, and this thing here, whichever is there on the left hand side, okay, whatever terms are there on the left hand side, you put it take it as divisor. Okay, so degree 4 dividend, degree 2 divisor, right? Divisor will be of lower degree. Now let us divide and see what I am going to do here. So first I will take x square, 2x square, so this will come out to be 2x to the power 4, then 4x cube, I am using simple long division method, then 14x square. Then we subtract this will be minus x cube minus 7x square minus 7 minus x plus 41. Division is still possible, so now that is going to be minus x. It is minus x cube minus 4x square minus 7x. Again, plus plus plus. Now this is 6x plus 41. This will also be remaining minus 3x square plus 6x plus 41. Okay, still division is possible. You know what is the concept of division, right? So now it will be minus 3. So this will be minus 3x square minus 12x. Just wait a minute, let me check these calculations.
So it should be 8x.
Yeah, that's what I'm having a look at the calculation part now. Minus x cube 2x4 8x cube. Sorry, it should have been 8, right? Here it will be 8x cube, right? 8x cube. Let me remove this part. Wait a minute. 8x cube then 14x square. Now this is okay. So it will be minus 3x cube minus 7x square minus x plus 41. Now the next number will be minus 3x, right? So it will be minus 3x cube minus 12x square minus 21x. Okay. So this will be now plus plus plus. Okay. So 5x square plus 20x plus 41. Right. Now let us multiply it with 5. So this will be 5x square plus 20x plus 35. You subtract, no more division possible, and remainder is coming out to be 6. Okay. Now let us write this thing, let us write this situation in the form of result. So what is dividend? Use the result for long division method, division algorithm. We say that division algorithm, right? So dividend is divisor into quotient plus remainder, right? Plus remainder. We write it like this only. Okay. Now what you are going to do, how you are going to get the value of the expression? It is going to be 6. Why? Now use this. What is the value of this expression? X square plus 4x plus 7, it is actually 0. That is what you have got by uh, sorry, this thing was 2x square minus something wrong happened here. Wait a minute, anything missing here? It's not minus 3 plus 5, no, it is minus 3x square minus 3x cube minus 12x square minus 21x. Okay, this minus 3 is extra here, right? That was because of the previous term. It is not, it is simply 5, right? And here also this minus 3 will not be here, it will be plus 5. Okay, plus 5. So the point is, what is the answer now? Answer is 6. Why? Because the expression, this expression, which is actually the divisor, its value is ultimately 0. So 0 into something, whatever be this expression is 0. So ultimately what is remaining? 6. So value of this expression is equal to 6. Okay. We do not directly put the value. Okay. We do not directly put the value. In fact, from the given value of x, we first remove iota, we get some expression, we take this as divisor. The expression which is supposed to be evaluated, we take that as dividend, and then we use the long division method, right? Finally, after writing the form of division algorithm, we put this value of divisor, and that will give us the value of the expression. You will get this same value by directly substituting the value of x here, but you will see it will take lot of calculation. Like in the first term only, you will have to do power 4, then cube, then square. Okay, so it is better if we use this approach. Let us just wait a minute, let me see if I can find another similar question for your practice. Yeah, I have this question, just solve it and tell me what is the answer. If z is 4 plus iota root 7, okay, all of you try this, then find value of z cube minus 4z square minus 9z plus 91, minus 9z plus 91. This is the question. Z is 4 plus iota root 7. On the basis of that, we have to find value of this expression, z cube minus 4z square minus 9z, and at last it is plus 91. Okay, plus 91. Solve it.
Sir, 1.
No, 1 is not the answer.
-1.
-1 is correct. Good. -1 is correct. So I think you are getting one, that may be because of slight calculation mistake. Okay.
Yes, sir,
Just
-1.
yeah. See, first thing that we need to do is shift 4 to the left hand side. Okay. Square both sides. We have to make this free from iota, then use the values. This z square minus 8z plus 16, right? This is -7. Then you shift 7 to the left hand side, and I think this value will come out to be 23, right? Now the dividend is z cube minus 4z square plus minus 9z plus 91, and this is your divisor. Okay. So first we multiply by z. Okay, same process is followed. Okay, then minus plus minus. This is 4z square minus 32z plus 91. This is z, all right. This is 2. Then I think 4 will be taken, right? So this is 4z square minus 32z plus 92. Got it? So -1 will be there. Now this is same, right? Your question is your dividend equals divisor into quotient plus remainder. Okay, plus remainder. Now this thing is 0, right? This thing is 0, so this whole vanishes, and what is left? Only -1 will be remaining, right? That will be our answer. So I hope now this is clear. You will be able to do such type of questions, right? And another thing, it is not necessary that every time you get -1 as the remainder. Okay, you may get, listen carefully, it is not possible, it is not necessary that every time you get some number as a remainder. You may be getting, like for example, here this was 32z. Okay, 32z. Like here at that step you may get z minus 1 as the remainder. Okay. If you get z minus 1 as the remainder, or like z minus 1 is there, then you cannot do the division anymore. Why? Because divisor is of degree 2 and your answer is z minus 1, which is of degree 1. That means z minus, here in place of -1, in that case z minus 1 will be remaining, and z minus 1 will be your answer. But now you may ask, sir, but what is the value? So for that you will put the value of z once again here, right? If it is happening, if you are not getting a number, if you are doing correct calculations and -1 is not there, you are getting something else. Okay, suppose you are getting z minus 1 and division is also not possible, then that will be the answer, and in place of z you will be putting 4 plus iota root z minus 1. So then the answer will be 3 plus iota root 7. Okay, it will be that. Remember this. Right now we are getting numericals every time, some numbers, but you may get answer in terms of z also, but you have to be careful that you have done the proper division. That is another thing. Okay. Now see, there are some standard notations or some terms that you need to understand here. Okay, with respect to a complex number. See, this z is equal to a plus iota b. Okay, so there are few terms that you need to understand. Okay, if suppose in such in the complex number, if a is 0, okay, if a is 0, That means now z remains only a complex number having iota. Okay. In such cases, z is called purely imaginary. Z is called. So I want to familiarize you with these terms. This is purely imaginary. So if an example, best example is iota. Iota can be written as 0 plus 1 iota. So if someone asks what is iota, so it is purely imaginary complex number. Obviously it is a complex number. It is purely imaginary complex number. What is the condition? A real part is 0. Okay. So if some complex number is having its real part as 0, we say that it is purely imaginary complex number. Remember this. Now if the opposite happens, suppose b is 0. B0 means if the imaginary part of z is 0, then z will be like this. Okay, see, sometimes I write a plus iota b, sometimes I write x plus iota y. That is like fine, that is okay. You just need to represent the real and imaginary part. For that I am taking alphabets. Okay, now I am taking a and b. So if z is a, in such cases z is called purely real complex number, which we already studied till class 10th, like 1 2 3 4 root 2 etc. They are like what? They are real numbers. We say that they are real numbers, or we can say that they are purely real complex numbers. Okay, it is one and the same thing. Now who can tell me what is the only complex number which is purely real and purely imaginary?
0.
Very good. That is 0. So if A0 and B0, A0, B0, if you put A0 and B0, so you will get ultimately 0, right? You get ultimately 0. Is the only complex number. Is the only complex number. So remember this thing, okay? Is the only complex number which is purely real as well as purely imaginary, okay? So simple terms, easy to understand. Just remember their headings, definitions, and the meanings of these terms. Okay. So only z equal to 0 will be that term. And remember this thing, REZ, imaginary z. Okay. These kind of notations. Okay, so I'll be taking last question for today. All right, then we'll continue in the next class. And I'm telling you one thing: if you are not doing PNC question bank, because you guys have not asked even a single question, so I'm little bit doubtful that you have solved it. So you have one more day. If you want, tomorrow I can take from question number 1 to question number 25. Okay, not just the 15 questions again, from question 1 to question 25, and please solve them. It will hardly take 30 minutes or so. So you don't have even that much time. Okay, do it and then ask me out. Okay, this is the last question. Prove that x plus 1 plus iota into x plus 1 minus iota, then x minus iota minus 1, and then we have x minus 1 plus iota, and we have to prove that it is x to the power 4 plus 4. So one thing is clear, that we have to multiply, but it depends, actually depends on the method, how, what method you want to apply here to actually do the multiplication. What do you think, how to multiply these terms? Just one by one like that, or try to do something else here?
So you can take them as A and B.
Yes, good. So first of all, what I can do, I can take this as A. So naturally this is B, and you can see the signs also. So from the first two terms, I can use A plus B into A minus B, right? Can I do the same in the next two terms? Definitely. Just do some arrangement, like you take this minus 1 with x, then here it is minus iota, and then this you can see this is x minus 1 plus iota, right? Now let us multiply first two using a plus b into a minus b, so it will be a square minus b square, right? This is the first term. We can use this same thing in the last two terms. It is x minus 1 whole square minus iota square. Okay. Now this is x plus 1 whole square minus 1, sorry, plus 1, because iota square is minus 1, minus into minus plus. Similarly, this will be x minus 1 whole square plus 1. Okay. Now do not expand. Okay. Do it later on. First you multiply. Now see, everything is real here. So it is like multiplying a plus b into c plus d. First you multiply these two. So x plus 1 whole square into x minus 1 whole square. Then you multiply x plus 1 whole square with 1. Then you multiply 1 with x minus 1 whole square. Then you write 1. Okay. Now how to write this? I can write this as x square minus 1 whole square. Why? Because a square into b square can be rewritten as a into b whole square, like this. Let us expand these numbers. X square plus 2x plus 1. Then what about this? X square minus 2x plus 1. Then what else you have? 1, right? This will be cancelled. Okay. Now we expand these terms. So we expand this result. A minus b whole square is a square minus 2ab plus b square. Then this is 2x square. Is there any calculation mistake? Because they are asking us to, okay, it's 4, no, fine. So this is how much? This is 2x square. And how many times 1 is there? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Right? This gets cancelled and this is the value. So do not just directly go on multiplying. It will become very complicated. Rather you try to find some identity, alright? And then you prove this. And wherever required, use these results that iota square is minus 1. Iota to the power 4 is 1. Like these results, no? So this is the way to do it. Okay, so revise this chapter. We already had, I think, 2-3 classes earlier also. Okay, and then PNC, this homework should be done side by side. So at least you should devote 1 hour at least. At least I'm saying, I'm not saying maximum. 1 hour at least apart from your class and everything. Then only you'll be able to, complete the question and everything. All right. So let's meet tomorrow and let us see if you have any doubts, and then we'll proceed further in this chapter. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.